Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. In this day's video, it will be a little bit different. And the highlight of today's video would not be the actual footage of Beijing under lockdown. Rather, I'll be talking a little bit about data. So let's just look at some numbers, and also I'll be trying to explain the so-called zero COVID policy of China to my best knowledge and as much as I can. But before today's video, I would like to say to all my new subscribers to my channel, and since I have started to make videos about Beijing under lockdown in year 2022, I have gained approximately 10 more subscribers to my YouTube channel. As you may be able to see, that my channel have been used as a personal, I would say, online archive for a very long time. So I don't really have a huge number of subscribers and viewers from time to time. But I do appreciate you subscribing to my YouTube channel. I wouldn't actually ask you to subscribe and like, but your subscribing has been very meaningful for me. So I do appreciate that. So I would like to say thank you for subscribing, and I do hope that my videos can be worthwhile for all of you. Okay, now let's get to it, to the data. So basically, in today's video, I will be explaining this little bit spreadsheet that I made. I have been keeping a record of daily cases in Beijing since late April this year, a little bit before the lockdown actually started to be enforced. So I have made this little bit file here with two tables and a line graph. So now I'm here to explain them. So let us now look at the first table. This table shows daily cases and daily rate of infection. So what are these? There are three columns. The first one is date, basically just showing which date are there. So the three green ones, as we can see here, from 22nd to 24th, these are the 3 days before lockdown, before at least the first district in Beijing had been put into lockdown, which was on the 25th. So the 3 days leading to the lockdown already had an increased number of cases compared with the earlier period of April. So I put them inside of this table as well, but marked with color green, so you can know those 3 days were Beijing not under lockdown. And from 25th onwards, you may see in the date column, they are red cells and gray cells. The red cells are the days with the compulsory or mass COVID test in Chaoyang district, in Chaoyang-Chu. So I cannot actually put the dates of all compulsory COVID tests in the entire area of Beijing, but I can say that approximately from I would say from the 1st of May onwards, there are some COVID tests in all districts in Beijing every day. So in here, I only have only marked the days with I would just say with explicitly with a compulsory COVID test in Chaoyangqu. So those are the dates with red colors. So as we can see that from the 25th of April to the 1st of May, there were one compulsory test every another day. But from the 3rd of May onwards, Chaoyangqu began to have compulsory. Usually they'll publish like 3 consecutive days with compulsory COVID tests. So for example, from the 3rd to 5th of May, and then from the 7th to 9th, and so on. So far, today is Tuesday, 17th of May. So we are here, and so we are currently on the second day of 3 consecutive days of compulsory COVID test, and I would say the how should I say this? But it is in general escalating. Because from time to time, I have noticed that there are fewer and fewer people are actually participating in the so-called compulsory test. So no doubt people in Beijing are resisting this compulsory COVID test to some levels or in some forms. So now they are emphasizing, or however you want to call it, promoting this COVID test. And it is said if you do not participate in that, you need a good reason to do so. Either you're a bedridden patient or whatever. So I think it will only be a matter of time. They will knock on the door to doors, just to drag people to have the test. So yeah, that's for the date and what's happening on those dates. So the second column, these are the numbers of cases reported every day by I believe it's called the Health Commission of Beijing. So that's like the governmental Department of Health of Beijing. So that's governmental data. So I'm not here to talk about something I cannot prove or something that's not officially authenticated or officially published. So I'm here only talking about the data reported by Beijing government, and I'm here only talking about Beijing policy. So Beijing data versus Beijing policy. So that's what I'm talking about here. So I'm not talking about even Shanghai or other Chinese provinces or cities. Not about their data, because I have never been there. I don't really know about their policies or what's the situation over there. I have been confined to my own microrayon since the 25th of April, so I can only experience what's going on here with the first-hand experience. So I don't even know the microrayon next to it, but I do have some social people persons in my social network that can provide me with the situation in other microrayons or other places in Beijing. So I do know about the lockdown policies in Beijing a little bit, better than other places in China, and also have been recording the numbers of cases reported by Beijing official since mid April. So here in the second column, as you can see, are the reported cases each day. So I have only recently received the report on yesterday, on the 16th. So today, well, it's still going on, so we don't have the data for today, but all the days before we already have here in here. I must say those numbers are relatively small compared with Shanghai, because at least I've heard that in Shanghai there were like thousands of cases per day, maybe. Or at least even in Hong Kong, in New South Wales, those are the places I know a little bit about their COVID situation. They have far more cases than Beijing. So it kind of surprised me, because the COVID policy here in Beijing, as you can see, firstly, the compulsory COVID tests are pretty frequent. So from basically in the month of May, they are COVID test compulsory ones, approximately every day. So with so many tests being done, I think it's safe to say that no COVID positive individuals can escape this. They'll be discovered as soon as they turned COVID positive, right? At least in theory, with so many tests. And also, the quarantine in Beijing is not done in a manner of people being sent to so-called quarantine center or contained hospital. No, most people, including my microrayon, the people in my microrayon, we are still able to leave our own apartments, but we cannot leave our microrayons, which means we can still having some sort of contacts with each other. And also our apartment buildings are not professionally designed for quarantine, which means, at least according to official narratives, the virus can still travel in the sewer system, from door to door, along with the pipes and everything. So living in apartments like this does not guarantee that we are properly quarantined. So let's put it this way. So we are still in kind of living in very close contact with each other. So the so-called zero COVID policy of China actually doesn't mean to have zero COVID inside of the areas under lockdown. So that's a common, I would say it's kind of like a misunderstanding, and something that's been lost in translation, because the formal or full form version of the zero COVID policy is actually, in Chinese, it's called 社会面清零. Or in, I think, well, I mean, it's not actually a term in sociology, but I think it can be translated to zero COVID in societal aspect of the society. So what is the societal aspect of societal sector here? It means the part of the society that can still function as a society. It's kind of like this. So people under lockdown, or people living in microrayons under lockdown, we are not considered as members of the society anymore, according to China's policy. So we are expected to be sick with COVID at some point, or at least it won't actually counted as COVID cases in the societal part of the society. So which means if we have active COVID cases inside the microrayon under lockdown, it doesn't hurt the zero COVID object of the whole city. So that's what that means. That means people living inside of the locked down microrayons, we can still get sick, and the government doesn't actually prevent us from being sick with COVID. So what I'm saying here is that the lockdown and quarantine policies in Beijing doesn't necessarily guarantee fewer cases just because of the lockdown is in place. So as we can see here, that's the daily numbers of cases anyway, but I won't read everything once. You can pause this video to check. And also I calculated symptomatic, I think is the word, the ones with symptoms and the ones without together. So if you check the official report, they may report them separately. For instance, yesterday I believe there were like 49 symptomatic cases and 3 without any symptoms. So put them together, that's 52. So that's how I got 52 here. So this is basically the same thing I've done for all the days. But sometimes they may report some asymptomatic cases that turned into symptomatic. So someone may be tested as COVID positive on one day, but on that day, that person didn't have any symptoms. But on another day, the person is still positive, but suddenly got some symptoms. So they may report that person again as one symptomatic case. So in that case, I didn't actually take that off. So there might be more cases than just like a few more cases than it should be. But approximately, this column shows how many cases have been reported on each day. So finally, the third column is the daily rate of infection, or so it's basically just the daily number of cases divided by the whole the population of Beijing, as reported by a website. I believe it's called the World Population Review.com. So it's kind of like I would say a pretty official estimated population of Beijing here. So basically this column shows you the rate of how many people of Beijing have been reported COVID positive on each day. And the line graph here is referring to this table I just talked about. So just shows you how many how many cases are there each day in a graph rather than in a table. And the yellow line here, it shows the trend. I use moving average because, well, this app provides me with a couple of ways to show the trend. But I think moving average, which is the average of the 2 days before and after, it kind of shows the best. I think that's the best way. So it kind of like just smoothen the original line a little bit. And here's the reference line, shows the today's average, which is 47 cases each day. So that's what this graph is about. Okay, finally, that's I think that's the best part, which is some statistics of the data. Okay, so this one shows how many days we are under lockdown. So I think I mentioned this before. Today's day 23, or maybe I didn't. But here shows, and that's how I know. So this from calculating how many entries are in this line. In this column, minus these 3 days and plus 1 day, which is today without entry, but we're currently living in this day, and that's the total cases. So it's just like a summation of how many cases each day, and that's total rate of infection, which is to have the number of total cases divided by Beijing's population. This will be a little bit difficult to read, so I believe that's okay, I might be wrong here, but I believe that's 5.5. Let's say it's 55 people per million. I could be wrong here, so correct me if I am wrong. But that's how many. That's the rate of how many people are. They have been reported COVID positive. Again, I think it's necessary to mention here that I did not take off those people who've been discharged from hospital from time to time. So this is not how many people are currently COVID positive, but only how many people have been reported COVID positive in these days. So that's a number. You can figure it out. And that's the average daily cases, which can also be seen in the line graph down here. So that's 47 today. So it's automatically calculated based on the second column in the first table. Okay, and that's average daily rate of infection, which is the rate of infection calculated based on the average daily cases. Okay, here is the final part of this, basically the final part of the entire file here. That's estimated yearly cases. So how's that calculated? So that's how this is calculated. So this is based on the total cases have been reported on these days from 22nd to yesterday, and this one times 365, which is the how many days are there in 1 year, divided by how many entries that we have. Okay, so the second part of this equation, it shows. Okay, now we have, for instance, we have, I believe, 25 entries, So this part shows how many 25 days are there in 1 year. So with this times how many cases have been reported within this 25 days. So which can be used to estimate how many cases might be in a year if the current the current situation has been going on in a year, how many cases there will be. And so that's how many. It's 17,155. That's how many cases if, say, Beijing maintains this kind of rate of infection throughout a year. So that's how many people will be sick. And finally, that's that's not what I'm trying to do. Sorry. Okay. And finally, that's the estimated yearly rate of infection based on previous cell and divided by the entire population of Beijing this year. So yearly rate of infection actually is widely used by CDCs and WHOs to measure the effectivity of a disease, but just like what I said at the beginning, kind of of this video, according to Beijing's data, I must say this yearly rate of infection is not very high, because according to WHO, every year there would be approximately 5 to 15% of people getting seasonal flu. So the rate of infection of seasonal flu can be measured by percentages. However, what was this number? This number shows that every year there are 8 people in every 1,000. So it's like 8,000. 80. Sorry. There'll be 8 every 10,000. Sorry, I was wrong. Or 0.8 every 1,000 of people. So less than 1 people every 1,000 may get COVID each year. So this is entirely based on official data reported by Beijing's government. So I must say this is not a very large rate. It is not. Compared with seasonal flu and many heart diseases, which are also both epidemic and lethal. This is not a very large rate, I must say this. And also, so far, there are no severe cases with severe symptoms have been reported. Nothing like this, no death. Maybe just one. One case with severe symptoms, if I remember correctly, but maybe they're not. So, but that's really, with that, it's still way lower than how many people may have severe symptoms when they get, for instance, seasonal flu, or they may actually die from seasonal flu. Compared with that, COVID, at least right now, it is not that serious, unfortunately, or fortunately for us, or unfortunately for the policymakers. So So yes, earlier the spokesman of China's foreign ministry invited global media to examine China's COVID policy rationally. Well, I am nothing global. I'm local here. I'm living here in Beijing. I'm nothing global, but today I use whatever data I can acquire from official sources, and I have just examined the COVID policies in Beijing. At least I've just examined the COVID situation in Beijing. I must say this is compared with many other epidemic or infective diseases. This is not serious. It's not more serious than seasonal flu. Actually, it's way less serious than seasonal flu. However, the COVID policies in the same manner or similar manners have never been enforced or made for any other diseases. So what's the rationality behind your COVID policies now, Beijing? I don't know. So I don't know if you agree with me or disagree with me. So feel free to leave a comment if you disagree. If you have anything that can rationalize or anything that can justify the scale or the manner of lockdown, of quarantine, of so many people, waiting in line, whether in cold, in hot weather, in dry or wet weathers, and why they are, lining up outside to have compulsory COVID test every day, and why they are asked to present their negative COVID test results within either 48 hours or 7 days. That depends on the venues they are trying to enter. So why all this are in place with your official data that prove the COVID is way less infective, way less lethal than seasonal flu, for instance. So why is that? What's your justification? Okay, so that's everything I want to put in this video. In future, I may add a few more data into my my spreadsheet. For instance, I may add the severity of each day's cases. So, like, for instance, how many people are having no symptoms, or how many are severe or medium or light. Again, all the data here are officially released or reported by Beijing's government. I'm not talking about other places of the world or other places of China. I'm talking about Beijing data and the Beijing policy. So the reality is that we have been confined to this microrayon. How many people are confined to their microrayons on and off for about 23 days or maybe less, because my microrayon has been one of the first microrayons being put under lockdown. But from time to time, there are more districts and more microrayons being joined into the party of lockdown. Okay, so thank you for watching, and hopefully this video is worthwhile, and hopefully all my videos been worthwhile for you. So that's all. I wouldn't really ask people to subscribe or like my videos and subscribe to my channel, because I haven't been really updating videos very regularly, or making them kind of like very presentable. So all of this is kind of like my personal vlog, if you put it that way, or kind of like my personal notes. Maybe for some greater research or researching larger scales in the future. That's what I've got so far. And if the video is indeed worthwhile, so please give us a thumb up, give a like. If you disagree, please feel free to argue, to leave a comment, and I will try to kind of explain why I chose this data or this method. And if you disagree, just leave a comment and let me know why you disagree with me. How may I improve my methodology. Okay, so thank you again for watching, and you have a good one.